When it comes to breakups, men go through some of the most challenging times in their life. It's a very difficult phase and it takes some time to just simply move on. One of the first reasons why men take it so hard is one, they like to build things. We all like to build something in life and we like to keep it, maintain it, nurture it, and see it grow. And when everything comes crumbling down, it devastates us. Think of it like, you lost your job, right? You've been there maybe for 5 years, you've developed relationships, you've developed your stability, your career, and some skills, and all of a sudden you get let go. It's a devastating day for you. Why? Because you have built something, you have taken time to get better, and all of a sudden it's gone forever. So when it comes to relationships, you have these expectations, right? You've developed a connection with the woman you love. You think about you're going to eventually get married and have kids. All of a sudden, it's gone forever. And all that work you put in, you just feel defeated, you feel hopeless, and you feel like it's never going to get better. So that's one of the very first reasons why we have a hard time just moving on from a breakup. Another reason why men tend to have a harder time getting over a breakup is men don't hang out with other guys on a regular basis. Women do. They hang out with their other girlfriends on a week to week basis. They're text them all day. They're call them during the week to see how they're doing. They keep up with them on a consistent basis. Men, we might hang out every other week, maybe once a month, but that's about it because we find ourselves on this simple Friday night hanging out with ourselves and not going out. Women like to have connectivity, like to have some type of community going on. So when we first go through a breakup, it's a culture shock because we're used to depending on her, we're used to talking to her on a regular basis. And when that's gone, now we have to find our friends and they might not always be available because the guys are wired the same way, right? So they go through more loneliness and dealing with those emotions. And women, when they go through a breakup, what are they going to do? Talk to their girlfriends, right? They're going to talk about the emotions, the experience. And then after they go through that process, hey, they just go and move on with their lives and hang out with their friends. Guys, no, they got to process stuff, right? Still working. And, they're hanging out, like I said, with their guy friends maybe once a month, every other week, but it's not as consistent. And we're also not calling our guy friends on a consistent basis. That's just not what we do. We might text and see how you're doing and what's up, but they're not going to get into deep details. This is not what we do in society, right? So obviously for a man, this is going to be much harder as they go through a breakup because it's very devastating and they're going to be more alone and by themselves processing it rather than just sharing their feelings with other men. It's just not something we do. The other thing that makes a breakup difficult for a man is when she breaks up with him and it happens out of nowhere. It completely blindsides you because you're thinking to yourself, the relationship is going well. There's no problems going on, there's no major issues. And all of a sudden, she just wants to move on. And that completely catches you off guard, right? And now you got to pick up the pieces, you got to process everything, you got to really think about what just happened, what did you do wrong? And you have to deal with your emotions too, because again, she just caught you out of nowhere and it completely just surprised you. So that's another thing that a man goes through is when a woman breaks up with him, it really hurts his ego, right? It crushes him because again, we like to build things, we like to keep things, and when we lose something, it's very devastating for a man. The last thing I'll say is this: men tend to invest in the relationship too much. And here's what happens: they build this perfect image, right? They got a great career, they got a lot of stuff going on, they take care of themselves, and the woman is attracted to what he's presenting. But what happens when he gets her locked down and they're in a relationship? Well, he gets comfortable. He stops taking care of himself. He stops taking care of his finances, his career. He gets lazy in the things that he was doing before, and the attraction goes down. And eventually she just breaks up with him. And all of a sudden, he's got to pick up the pieces, and he's already gone through a process of just not working on himself, right? Because he's gotten comfortable. Now all of a sudden he has to rebuild the things that was working for him before. And this can be very devastating for a man because all of a sudden, you got to start from ground zero. And you probably think, well, I'm not going to find somebody that, will be interested in me. You feel hopeless. You feel probably useless, right? That's a normal feeling to go through. But again, we put this on ourselves because we invested too much in the relationship and we didn't invest enough in ourselves. So don't give up on yourself. Continue to push forward. Now, if you got to cry, cry. I know in society it says men shouldn't cry, but if you got to, shed some tears to yourself at night and just get it off your chest, get that stuff off your chest, right? but continue to move forward and continue to work on yourself. Any person who says that getting over a breakup is simple, it's quick, no, that's not realistic, right? So just give yourself time to heal. Make sure you network with some friends. Make sure you really work on your purpose and learn from the things you did wrong, right? Because obviously you made some mistakes and you got to own that, right? Just expect it to be hard at times because remember, we're wired differently. We're going to go through some lonely days because we don't hang out with men 24/7, right? That's just not in our DNA. But continue to push forward, continue to better yourself as a man, work on the things you might have neglected and just continue to take your time. Because if one day you're sad, okay, cool. If another day you're feeling better, awesome. That's just part of the process. That's what I went through in my breakup. It wasn't easy before I got married, but I stuck with it. I continued to push forward, continue to, stay connected with people that could help me out and build me up. And I just got over it eventually, right? It's not easy, right? Because breakups aren't cool. It's messy and a lot of emotions are going on, but you have to remember you've got a purpose, you've got something to give, and you just have to keep moving forward. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you like the video. I'd love to hear your feedback of what your experience has been in a breakup as a man. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.